Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective, in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice in control.
Yeah, trying to find the right path sometimes is a struggle. A jigsaw in the dark, missing pieces, unknown puzzle. Blurry fuzzy pictures as the mind becomes clear. Fairy tale of a wolf, a boy crying, a near fear. Scribbling numbers, writing notes, a clue that you find. The hope being one day sharing them with the hive mind. Swapping and dropping the blue and swallowing the red pill. NPCs all around, distorted reality is how you still feel. Should you risk going alone down that rabbit hole, or ask the hive mind, see what else your big brother stole? Collective consciousness helps uncover any clue. Powerful ideas shared amongst the whole crew. And the best thing about it, transaction cost is free. Plop just a drop of water, more splash in a tsunami.
Your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective, in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice in control.
That single ripple echoes, a signal in the sea. Unlocking every deadbolt, we forge a master key. They built the maze to break us, to keep us all apart. But every node connected is a brand new place to start. So dump your data stream here, your theories and your doubt. Let the pattern sniffers work, the hidden logic out. From a million different angles, we analyze the code. Lighten up the burden and we share the heavy load. The picture gets clearer, the static starts to fade. A brand new foundation by the collective has been laid.
On your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective, in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice in control.
The picture gets clearer, the static starts to fade. A brand new foundation by the collective has been laid. So let them call you crazy with your tinfoil hat. It's a necessary filter for the mindless chit-chat. They broadcast their agenda, selling lie after lie, while drawing strange new patterns in a crisscross sky. But that hat ain't for hiding, it's an antenna now you see. Tuned into the frequency of the minds that wanna be free. The frantic search for answers you once did all alone is now a data packet uploaded from your phone. So polish up your helmet, there's no need to ever doubt. We're the ones who see the signal when the rest have tuned it out.
On your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective, in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice in control.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective, in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice in control.
What is going on, Hive? Good morning. Today is July 23rd, 2025, and it is Bryan Kohberger's sentencing date. I got to get my phone pulled up here so that I can, the comments come in real time on my phone. So let me just pull up the chat so that I can make sure I'm seeing everything. How's everybody doing this morning? I got to tell you, I had some time after the stream, and I had my inbox as well as this chat last night get flooded with comments about you should go watch Jay and Bree or Pavarotti's video, and the connections and the court documents lining up to the dates is mind-blowing. I am very, very curious as to what is going to happen today. When I was on the stream last night, I said to Phoenix, I don't think there's going to be a plot twist. There might be. There might be, knowing now what I saw in that video with the screenshots of all of the court documents lining up per date, change of pleas, sealing, unsealing, compelling to show documents, show evidence. It's pretty mind-blowing. So anyways, let me say what's up to the Hive. I see Dobbs in here, Brooks in here, Ava and Sarah. Thank you guys so much with starting the stream out with a super chat and a super sticker. I always appreciate that. Victoria's in here. We got Ryan Anderson. There we go. I'm all good now. We got Ryan Anderson. We got Dina and Victoria. Gabby, what's up? Taya. Robin Jones, daughter of the Most High. Emily, Beck, Euphoric, what's going on? Shout out to Festive. Chantelli Lace. Amina, always good to see your name. Savannah, what is going on? Jessica. Sharon B. Carrie says she's nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm more like, well, I guess you could call it nervous. It's more like eagerness. Good morning, Ashley. Morning, Mary. Dawn, how are you doing? UFO Dog, Berdino. We got Terry, what is going on? Shout out to Terry. She's awesome. Jill and Claire. Victoria, thank you so much. It wouldn't be without the Hive. We got Holes, Chocolate Empress. What's up? 1111. Mama G. Emily Barnes. Good morning, Shar. Chantelli is referring to the daughter of the Most High. Chantelli says, I wish I was the Most High. Chantelli Lace also said about this picture that I have as the theme for last night, which is Trump, Ann Taylor, and Kohberger smoking joints. She said like dream blunt rotation, which I thought was hilarious. But we got, where's everybody tuning in from to see this stream? And thank you for tuning in to the Hive to watch this hearing. I have it queued up here. We got New Zealand, Long Island, New York, Chocolate Empress. I think there's probably a lot of people that are going to be doing that. Texas, North Carolina, Texas. What's up, Bo? Pennsylvania, the Hive Down Under, Minnesota, another Hive Down Under, Dane County, Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Pittsburgh, the UK. It's 12:40 in the morning in Sydney. Unbelievable, Rebecca. That is great. Louisiana, Eastern Tennessee, Tampa, Calgary, Mississippi, Liverpool, the free state of Florida. That's funny. Boise, Idaho, checking in. Colorado, Pennsylvania, working from home in North Carolina. Woman Power, good to see you. Hampton Roads, Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Oregon, Michigan, the hellhole I call work, Tennessee, Kansas. Amina says she called in sick to be here. That's incredible. Thurmont, Maryland, Virginia's finest. Festive still in bed. Well, make sure, Festive, when you get out of bed, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to make it, right? If you guys remember the whole inspirational little speech thing that we did about the first thing you should do every day is make your bed, because if you have a bad day, at least you come home to a made bed. Bo says Roll Tide, War Eagle, Bama, West Virginia, Rhode Island, Moscow. Wow. That's crazy. Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Nash, Vegas, Scotland. I haven't said Scotland in a while. South Dakota, St. Louis, Liverpool, Bulgaria. Is that the first person from Bulgaria in there? What up, Coco? Ireland, New York City. That's awesome. The Bronx. There's so many people all over tuning in here to the Hive. So what I want to do, because we have a little bit of time here, I have the Court TV queued up here, but I want to give a little bit of a recap as to what we discussed last night. I know most people were probably in here, but if you're not, hey, easy there, Sherlock, easy. Oh, that's hilarious. You're off the round table. That's funny. We got jokes this morning. That's hilarious. But for anybody that missed last night, I had 5 predictions that I want to go over, specifically kind of like the stock ticker that I want to keep an eye on today throughout the trial. But I also wanted to recap, as it has been 984 days since the Idaho 4 unalivings happened. Now, the Hive over on YouTube and TikTok has not been around for that long. However, I went through a working document that I used to present between TikTok and when I came over on YouTube initially. It was a working document that I would share my screen as we dug into stuff. And I was going through it, and I'm just like, man, it's a 55-page document where every page is pretty much filled up. We looked into anything, everything, the smallest little detail we would comb through. And as I was looking back through this, I'm just thinking to myself, all of this and the only thing that is mentioned are these two. And there's obviously way more photos. I just couldn't fit them all on the screen to where everybody could see it. We have things from the handprint that lines up perfectly as a match that was found on a window at the King Roadhouse. Same handprint on the crashed white Elantra in Eugene, Oregon. Then we go to the Dateline with this BS photoshopped AI, whatever the hell they did to it, grainy hoodie image of Kohberger, which will lead to the green Elantra being officially discovered and confirmed with the night vision camera and how it reflects blacks and whites. The luminol picture, the green car again being caught at the destruction of the house being torn down. Boz never used, and the like blockchain ID thing that the metadata was picked up on by the closed captions on the car park Linda Lane footage. Also, Kohberger having no tinted windows. The food truck, man, we dove into the grub truck a ton. The characters at the food truck. And then I have Alpha Kenny on here. I don't know how that dude is involved in this. I'm not saying the murders. I still can't put my finger on why that dude would call in and say it. And it's kind of funny because I was looking back at some of the comments on the YouTube channel after I posted that full interview. And a lot of the, well, not a lot, but it's a relatively agreed upon sentiment that this guy's full of shit. And, you know, I also was asked, did you vet this guy? I have to explain. TikTok is a little bit different than YouTube when you stream. So TikTok, people can just request to join. And when this guy was saying, being Alpha Kenny, when he was saying that he gave a tour to Maddie and Kaylee, and his mother owned the property management company that managed King Roundhouse, everybody was like, bring him up, bring him up, bring him up. And he had the full intention when he joined that live. He wasn't going to be up there for a little bit. He wanted to talk. He wanted to solidify the narrative. He wanted to continue that conversation. If you watched it, every time that we tried to kind of cut it off and we're like, all right, we're almost at an hour here, he would somehow redirect the conversation to keep it going. And it's almost like he wanted to continue to talk. I still can't put my finger on what the motivation was what the motivation was for that, as he had stated, he's never joined a live, had no idea who I was. He's from Moscow, says he knows nothing about the case, but he apparently gave him a tour, sticks to the mainstream narrative. It almost felt like we were being hustled in pool, kind of, where somebody acts like they suck the first game. Then when you bet money, they actually are decent, because he knew a lot of the talking points. And I've listened to that interview 3 or 4 times, and each time I pick up on something different. But I don't understand how you can just go onto TikTok, see a show about the Idaho 4, not know who that creator is, and go on and talk for an hour. And then kind of hold the host, being myself, hostage whenever we tried to end it. His username was disgusting. I left the last part of that username off the screen. So it's Alpha Kenny, and then it's Kid. And if you say it fast, it's a pedo username. It's weird. So I just wanted to go back and refresh, kind of refresh the memories of everybody who's been in the Hive. We've dug into everything. Hours and hours, photos, videos, all of that. And this is just a reminder. Sunday evening, Hive Mind Roundtable. Monday, it's confirmed with Scott Payne. Tuesday, we have Ali Benevento. So we have a busy week coming up in the Hive. I know we have questions for Scott. Can we get one started for Ali as well? Unless you did already, maybe this morning or last night, and I haven't seen it. Okay. So this stream is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more free flowing, right? Because obviously I think there's going to be a slight delay in the court hearing, because when I pulled up Court TV here, their clock, it's reset. It's reset at, hang on, where is it live? So it says that there is almost 2 hours still for the hearing, an hour and some change. So I'm going to pull up their YouTube channel, Court TV, that is. Just so I can keep an eye on it in the background as we talk. Wait, why is he on there? This is the plea hearing, right? There's no sound either. I'm confused right now. Oh, they're not even moving. It's just a thumbnail. It's just a thumbnail. That's funny. Whoops. So, yeah, everybody, they're getting everybody in the chat too with that. So, all right, so I'll keep this up so that we have eyes on it here. and we can all make sure that we're ready for when it gets started. And then I will just read through some of the predictions that I went over last night. And one of the things that I talked about is I think that what the news infamously does is they crowd the media cycle when there's a story that they want to bury, right? So I don't know if there's anything recent like today or last night that's come out. I didn't see anything, but I could also see after this trial or after this sentencing, depending on what goes on. Depending on what goes on and what ends up happening, I could see there being some sort of story that breaks and eats up the news cycle. I'm checking the Discord because I was just told that Devil's Advocate was in line at the sentencing, and there's a photo of it. I do not see that. Where did you post it? And I'll just have this up here as we watch the clock, actually, because these were my 5 predictions yesterday. I'm really, really curious to see what's going to happen with the stock drops in if a stock price drops in a private prison company. I believe it's Core Civic, and I think Palantir stock's going to go up. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring that part up is there was somebody in the YouTube comments that had asked, what does Palantir have to do with private security? Which is a really good question. Or private prison, right? And so I did a little bit of research, and pretty much Palantir stock can go up while a private prison company's stock goes down, because Palantir could represent the next generation of digital prison systems, one that's based on surveillance, control, and pre-crime algorithms. So physical incarceration might be prevented in a way. That's what a lot of the funding at Washington State was looking into, was predictive criminal behavior using AI in emerging adults in a non-clinical setting. I said this last night. I'm a little bit surprised that nobody else has brought up the funding of Washington State. Have you guys heard that outside of this channel? Because it is interesting how the feds can run cover under a university study. And if there was going to take down an operation, like, what better way to get the money and the funding out to that area under the cover of the college campus? So that is interesting. That it's really not talked about. But anyways, here's a refresher of what my predictions are. I will be monitoring this throughout the trial. And here's what I want to do is, while we are waiting for this, let's just do kind of a live Q&A for everybody that's caught up live. I'll put them up on the screen. Any questions that we have going into this, any questions about previous stuff we've talked about, any predictions. And I'll just tap into the Hive here, and we can have more of a working and fluid type of conversation this morning. And also, I will be live this evening at 7 p.m. Central to debrief as normal, or that is my normal stream time. I agree, Amina. I don't, and not just me, but like the Hive as well. 5 minutes to go to the trial. You know, I saw a headline on a YouTube thumbnail this morning that was saying Bryan Kohberger will spend the rest of his life caged in solitary confinement. And it was from News Nation. I want to see if I can find that. Thank you, Blue Eyed Candy. What did you just submit here? Hey, Birdie and Hive, did you see the Dr. Oz interview with Damian Eccles, the West Memphis 3? He talks about his state of mind when he was sentenced to death, public perception versus his reality. I have not seen that. Is it on YouTube? I believe that News Nation is disseminating misinformation on behalf of the FBI. Look at this. Bryan Kohberger will spend the rest of his life in solitary confinement. Yeah, I saw that thumbnail as well. Devil's Advocates is on site. Okay, Blue Eyed Candy. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. I'll write that down, actually. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, DA is on site for the sentencing today. And he was saying that there are marshals in the waiting room with him. All right, what other questions we got? Birdie, look up Access Secure Pack. What's up, Criminal Minds? You want me to look it up on? Well, I'll just do this. What is Access Secure Pack? It's a company that provides care packages for inmates in correctional facilities across the United States. It allows friends, family members of incarcerated individuals to send approved food, hygiene products, clothing, electronics, and other personal items directly to inmates, all within the rules and guidelines. Is that the right thing that you're talking about, Criminal Minds? See, Amina, to that point, guys, I'm not even gonna lie. I think Bryan knows that he's gonna. That's why I am so excited to have Scott Payne on to this stream, is because I want to ask him questions in general about undercover FBI operations. There's fraud going through Karen's GoFundMe to access Secure Pack. Really? I have to look into that. How did you figure that out? Or is that pretty known? But going back to the Scott Payne thing, the reason why I'm so excited to have him on to the stream, and he was the undercover FBI agent that infiltrated the Outlaws. I'm 3 chapters into his book, so we'll let him talk about that. But I want to know, what is it that the public doesn't understand about undercover operations? I want to hear it from a guy who did it. I don't want to hear about it in Hollywood. I don't want to hear about it from the news. I want to hear, what is it that people who go undercover understand that the public just isn't ready to hear? Yeah, and so far it has been extremely good. So it is available on Amazon. It's called Pale Horse. Here's the cover of it. It says, "How I Went Undercover to Expose America's Nazis." It's crazy. DA is in the courtroom. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm pulling up the Discord now so that I can see what DA is saying. What do you guys think about the 99-year no contact? What a weird. It just seems odd too. Absolutely. I think that is so well said, Sherlock. And Aubrey says the audiobook is free if you have Spotify. I did not know that. Thank you. Yes. He was on the Sean Ryan show. He was on the Joe Rogan Experience. And if I had to make a prediction and look into my crystal ball for the Hive, I would say that we are going to have some really epic guests onto this stream. So make sure you stay tuned. Click the subscribe button, turn the notifications on. It's free to subscribe. All the streams are free. Same thing with the Discord. It's free to join. That is a great question, Robin. So Robin asks, what if someone in the families wants to talk to him? Is that allowed? I will ask that. Okay. If there is a no contact order between someone who is sentenced to not talk with the victim's family, can that family still request contact? And would that be allowed if down the road they want to talk with the killer? Let's see what it says. That's what I'm looking up. I don't know. Only the court can modify. So only the court can modify or lift that order, even if the victim's families request contact later. It's a court-issued restriction. The family cannot override it. They have to file a motion. A judge then has to evaluate it. It stands until the court says otherwise. Wow. That's crazy. That is pretty crazy. I did not know that. What did Sherlock say? Oh, Sherlock, I cannot wait for Sunday evening. What other questions do we got, Hive, before this gets started? DA says that Hitler just came in. Thank you, Robin, for typing these updates. It's easier for me to just stare at the computer than look at the Discord, look at the chat, look at the Discord. What's up, Ricky? So I am live. Is this not? Oh, there we go. Sorry, everybody.
Judge Hitler presiding. Be seated. Thank you.
We need about 5 minutes.
Need 5 minutes?
Well, that was quick. Let me edit this layout too. So I can well, I'll just leave it full screen. Actually, I'll do this so that when it is full screen, does hopefully this will work too when it comes back on so that I can at least be on camera. Otherwise, it'll be full screen. Does that work for everybody? Type a 1 if that view will be fine. Okay, cool. Welcome, Full Moon. You have not missed much. They showed it for about 20 seconds, and then they said they need about 5 minutes. DA is reporting that Bryan was smiling when he walked in. So that is, there we go.
All right, thank you. All right, this is CR 0124316665, State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoff, Ms. Barlow. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, Mr. Hurwitz, Mr. Nye, and Ms. Allen. This is the time set for sentencing in this case. The defendant previously entered a plea of guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. In exchange, the parties stipulated to recommend a sentence consisting of, on burglary, 10 years fixed, on each of the 4 counts of first-degree murder, life fixed. The parties waived pre-sentence investigation. To my understanding, neither party submitted a sentencing memorandum or other materials for the court. Court is familiar with the file and the evidence submitted. Court is familiar with the file and the evidence submitted previously by the parties as it has reviewed them throughout the case and in anticipation of trial. Is there any legal cause why sentence should not be imposed at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Does the state, before impact statements and arguments, wish to present evidence today?
Your Honor, the state does not intend to present evidence in a documentary sense. We have provided the court through the clerk with photographs that we would like to use during the course of our sentencing argument.
Sure. All right.
Thank you.
But no testimony other than impact statements?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So with that, let's start with then impact statements.
Ms. Jennings will be introducing the
And my understanding, just so I'm clear, I indicated through the trial court administrator that we need to see if
I can't
any of
stand
the
listening to him.
victims wish to have the camera not running and audio only. And my understanding is all of them indicated they are fine with the video. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, very well. Go ahead.
Your Honor, the first, and we're taking these in the order, victim impact statements in the order that the charges were listed in the indictment. The first charge being burglary. So we will have Bethany Funka's statement, and she has asked that her friend Emily
Bethany who's?
read that statement.
All right, any objection to that?
Funka?
All right, very well.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we were constantly scaredy cats. And make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare. When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7 with a terrible toothache. So I called my dad, who is a dentist, and he asked what I should do. He told me to take Advil, so I did, and I went back to sleep. I was still out of it and still didn't know what happened. If I had known, I of course would have called 911 right away. I still carry so much regret and guilt for not knowing what had happened and not calling right away, even though I understand it wouldn't have changed anything, not even if the paramedics had been right outside the door. I was so frantic that morning and scared to death, not knowing what had happened. And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words. And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be.
Oh, man.
While I was still in shock, trying to process the fact that my friends were truly gone, I had been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened was even real. And at the same time, I was getting flooded with death threats and hateful messages from people who did not know me at all or know the dynamic of our friendship. Social media made it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family.
Right away with the
People showed up at our house. They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. I hated and still hate that they are gone, but for some reason, I am still here and I got to live. I still think about this every day. Why me? Why did I get to live and not them? For the longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse. And I was still here when their kid, their siblings and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. After everything happened, I was afraid to go into my own backyard or alone in my house. I was scared that the person who did this would come for me next. I was always scared that the media would try to catch me at any moment of any day, even when I was just walking around my house. I made my parents close all the blinds during the day so no one could see me even in the slightest chance. I barely left the house, and when I did, I made sure I was never alone. I slept in my parents' room for almost a year. I made them double lock every door, set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in, or someone is here to hurt me, or I'm about to lose someone else that I love. The fear never really leaves. For a long time, I could barely get out of bed, but one day I realized I have to live for them. They did not get the chance to keep living, but I do, and I will not take that for granted. So now every day I remind myself to live for them, and everything I do it with them in mind. I am still scared to go out in public, but I force myself to do things because I know that they would want me to keep living my life to the fullest. I am beyond blessed to still be here, and I refuse to take that for granted when they did not get a chance. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I will cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me. Now, I would like to share some bits and pieces of who they were as people and some of the memories that we shared. One of my favorite memories was Halloween, and we all went to Sigma Chi. But instead of partying, we just sat in an apartment, talking and laughing all night long. I do not think I've ever laughed that hard in my life. We did not care about the party, we were just happy to be with each other. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party. But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew. Everyone loved her because she made everyone feel so loved. She was just someone you always wanted to be around, no matter the circumstance. One of my favorite days with Xana was when she laid on the couch, when we laid on the couch together all day watching movies and snacking. Or when she, Maddie, and I would go and get margaritas, chips, and salsa. She would also light up a room with her presence alone. Kaylee had the most beautiful, radiant smile. And she was so kind, but also one of the funniest people I've ever known. She loved playing little pranks. And she always had us laughing so hard that we could not breathe. She was so full of energy and life. I really believe that she could have ruled the world if she wanted to, and she would have been America's sweetheart. Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to, and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. She was so kind, loving, funny, fun, and passionate. She had the sweetest soul and wanted nothing but the best for everyone, and to love and show love to everyone. She took me under her wing and always made me feel so safe and included, and above all, loved and valued. She never failed to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. Still to this day, I am beyond grateful that she chose me, but had her as one of my best friends. Honestly, I cannot pinpoint one favorite memory with Maddie because I have so many, and this would be a very long read if I did. But if some little memories with her that I cherish is when the two of us made a nice dinner and split some wine, or when we would binge watch Jersey Shore or Summer House. When we came up with a whole dance routine on Halloween and danced and sang all night, like no one was watching. All the late night walks home from going out, and just little shopping trips and so much more. I am beyond blessed that I had the chance to know each and every one of them. They changed my life in ways I would have never put into words. I hope that they are remembered for who they are and not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way. My heart breaks every time I go to text one of them or how badly I wish I could see and hang out with them. And then I remember I cannot. I will never be able to again. But I still talk to them in my prayers every single night, and I always will. I wish more than anything I could hug them one last time. And I wish I could tell them how much I love them. And even though I cannot, I still tell them every night. I will keep living for them as long as I am lucky enough to still be here. And they were all truly one of a kind. And they will be in our hearts forever and always.
Thank you. And please convey to Bethany my appreciation for her courage, and I hope that she heals.
Next is Dylan Mortensen. We're asking for some accommodations for Ms. Mortensen and that she be allowed to sit in my seat.
Sure.
Dylan's there.
Dylan, just take your time, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor. What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried it into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell them that I love them and that I'm so proud of them. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive? He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them. I got to say goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them, to make them proud. Living is how I honor them. Speaking today is to help me find some sort of justice for them. And I will never let him take that from me. He may have taken so much from me, but he will never get to take my voice. He will never take the memories I had with them. He will never erase the love we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Dylan, thank you so much for your courage. I appreciate it.
Next, we have members from the Madison Mogan family. First would be Scott Laramie, Madison Mogan's stepfather. Standing by him is Karen Laramie, Madison's mother.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Scott Laramie. I'm Maddie Mogan's stepfather and the husband of Maddie's mother, Karen Laramie. I will read this victim impact statement on behalf of Karen and myself. Maddie was our gift of life, our purpose, and our hope. Maddie quickly became Karen's joy, identity, and purpose in life. I joined Maddie's life when she was 2.5 years old. The experience transformed me into a life of joy, love, and family. Maddie was bright, beautiful, kind, empathic. She listened carefully to others and was observant, seeing and caring about the hearts and the minds of all she encountered. She loved music and music festivals. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She excelled in school. She was an easy child to raise, almost never requiring discipline, and almost always giving us parental joy. One time, One time Karen remembers disciplining Maddie as a little girl. Maddie responded, "You broke my heart," which of course melted ours. She had a keen wit, even at that young age. As she transitioned into teenage years, she prioritized us and extended family over many of the distractions that capture teenagers. She showered us with her presence and love at family events, barbecues, picnics, birthdays, holidays, and others. She spent countless hours with her papa, her uncle David, Aunt Nadine, and her other close family and friends. This world was a better place with her in it. As she reached adulthood, Maddie applied her studies to be a marketing professional, entering into an internship at Payne West, and started planning her professional future. As with all things, she involved Karen and myself in the joy of her journey. As she transitioned into womanhood, Karen and I continued to be astounded at this wonderful and accomplished person we had created. All parents dream of their children accomplishing more than them. We realized this dream, all we had not become, she was becoming. Karen and I are ordinary people, but we lived extraordinary lives because we had Maddie. Maddie was taken senselessly and brutally in a sudden act of evil. She was taken along with the young, promising, and bright lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. First, we felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation. Then we felt grief overcome us. Our grief is compounded even more for the Goncalves, Kernodle, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing, and we do have hope and some healing. But the vast emotional wound will never fully heal. Since Maddie's loss, there's emptiness in our hearts, home, and family, an endless void. After losing her mother in a car crash, Karen took years to grieve and recover. The feeling that her life with Maddie and A was perfect helped her to start to heal. Now, this is no longer perfect. After Maddie's loss, Karen felt like she was spinning out, emotionally collapsing into anxiety and depression. She sometimes asks, "How am I supposed to go on when I've lost my favorite person in the world?" I felt the same, and we continue to struggle. The loss of Maddie has impacted so many beyond our family. Her second family is her sorority sisters who grieve alongside us. She has so many close friends who suffer from her loss. We will continue to be her loss will continue to be felt by the Vandal community, including Vandal Solutions on campus, where she volunteered her time for others. It helps us to know Maddie is in heaven now, freed from the trials of this earth. We, however, continue to live on without the grace and support of her presence. We will grow old without our only child, our bright, beautiful friend and daughter. In the end, there are no words that can accurately capture the devastation of losing Maddie. We will endure, and we will go on. For Maddie, we will not let our grief consume us. For Maddie, we will continue to love and care for our family and friends, including the families of Kaylee, Santa, and Ethan. We will remain united with them. We can only hope that others out there suffering similar losses can look to us and see that we can overcome hatred, darkness, and evil. We know the law allows us to comment on the defendant and his sentence. As for his sentence, we support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not waste the words, nor will we fall into hatred and bitterness. Evil has many faces, and we now know this, but evil does not deserve our time and attention. We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives. We will turn our time, talents, and attention to hope, healing, and helping others, and to the future. We invite all those who have suffered with us on this to join us in our journey. We can make this world a better place. We can move on from tragedy. Adversity will visit us, evil will visit us, but we will overcome. We can and will endure. Karen and I express our gratitude to Your Honor and to the prosecution team for allowing us the opportunity to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your courage, and I am so sorry for your loss. God bless you.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is Leander James. He's the attorney for the Mogan family and victim advocate. He'll be reading a statement for Karen Laramie.
May it please the court, counsel. My name is Leander James. I am the pro bono counsel for Karen and Scott Laramie. Karen has asked me to read this statement into the record. I thank my husband, Scott, for his statement, his courage, and his unending love and support during this dark time. While words are inadequate to capture the impact of this horrific crime on our family, he expressed it as best anyone could. For Maddie's sake, I will add my supplement statement that incorporates additional impact in the context of my extended family. I am grateful to Maddie's great uncle, Bryan Kohberger, for assisting me with the difficult task of putting our pain into words. For me and my extended family, Maddie was our hope and our light. Her beauty, both outside and in, shone its light upon everyone with whom she came in contact. Her beauty, she carried that hope and light into the future for our entire family. We have memories of our Maddie and grief and pain at her being taken from our presence. Any one of us would have given our own light to have been outshone by hers. We now look to our Creator to know that her light continues where we look to see her in His presence. Those who commit evil for their own twisted gains and purposes truly defile the efforts and sacrifices of mothers, fathers, families, teachers, clergy, public servants, service members, and all those who commit themselves to the greater good, freedoms, and the future light of our nation. Condemnation falls heavily upon those who squandered the lives of our future hopes and dreams. Some may offer forgiveness for what the defendant has done. However, we cannot at this time, or perhaps ever, nor will we ask for mercy for what he has done. His acts are too heinous. The agony and grief he has caused, too great. But we will waste no further words or thoughts on him. For Maddie's sake, we will move on. We will do our best to carry Maddie's light into this world and make it a better place. I thank the court and the prosecution for allowing me the opportunity to make my statement. And I thank all those who have and will support my family and the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Larmy. Appreciate it.
Next is Ben Mogan, the father of Maddie Mogan.
Yes, of course.
Actually, Your Honor, it'll be Kim Cheeley, the grandmother of Maddie Mogan.
My name is Kim Cheeley. I was Maddie Mogan's paternal grandmother, as Ben Mogan, her father, is my son. I'm here today with my sister Lori Cheeley, Maddie's great aunt, and my son Ben Mogan, and my daughter-in-law Corey Hatrock. I'd like to begin by thanking a number of people involved in bringing this case to closure. In my daughter's words, the plea deal the prosecution team reached this month is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these kids the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, the years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. My family and I are so grateful to Bill Thompson and his prosecution team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. We want to thank the Idaho State Police, the Moscow Police Department, the FBI, and Judge Hippler. We'd also like to thank the University of Idaho officials who have treated the families of the victims with such dignity and kindness, and who have honored the 4 victims beautifully. Maddie was my first grandchild, so when she was born, all her grandparents had the distinct pleasure of deciding what we'd like to be called. I chose Nana, pretty original. But when Maddie was about 1.5 years old, her papa, Ben's dad, and I were planning to visit the new little family in Oregon. Maddie didn't have an extensive vocabulary at the time, but for some unknown reason, she called bananas ba-deedle-deedles. When Karen and Ben told her Nana was coming to visit, she figured, I say deedle-deedle for that word. So I became deedle-deedle, shortened to Deedle when she was about 6 or 7, and I was Deedle all her life. I don't think her stepdad, Scotty, ever knew my given name was Kim. Maddie's and my birthdays were 1 day apart, and a couple years before she was killed, she gave me this necklace with Deedle and Maddie engraved on it, and I added an angel wing, and it's one of my treasured possessions. I also got an angel wing tattoo, never thought I'd see the day, but along with many members of our family, replicating the one that Maddie and her sorority sisters had. I wanted mine where I could see and touch it often. From preschool through grade school, I stopped teaching piano lessons early on Wednesdays and picked Maddie up for bubble baths, brownies, and books. It was our special time together. And she went home those nights in her jammies with a pan of warm brownies for her family. Although Karen and Scotty raised Maddie and did such a lovely job of parenting, We Mogans were lucky to have her for holidays and many other family gatherings. We'll always have our treasured memories of Maddie growing up in our big extended cooperative family. And I thank Karen and Scotty Laramie for being so generous and open and sharing Maddie with her Mogan side of the family. When the 4 kids were murdered, the foundation fell out of our world. Initially, the fear was truly debilitating. The first 6 weeks were excruciating. Despite the vigils, memorials, candlelight gatherings of students, friends, family, community members. After the arrest in the past 2.5 years, my family has lived with grief, with the effects of traumatic grief, of which I was blissfully unaware before all of this. I now have a stack of books on grief. I've attended grief classes at hospice. I've tried EMDR, a technique that helps replace disturbing visions with something more comforting. My son, Ben, his 2 sisters, Maddie's aunts, and I have all experienced depression and anxiety and sleep disturbance, requiring medical intervention at times. We've all sought counseling off and on. The struggle with media attention was extremely difficult, especially for Ben. No one should live through the violent murder of one's child. Some days it's beyond me how the parents of these kids are still upright. I'm thankful for the strong families and communities that are supporting the survivors. At the time, I could think of only 2 blessings surrounding the horrific murders. One was that Ben was living with my partner Tom and me at the time, and that we could support each other emotionally through it all. Sadly, Tom died a year ago of a rare brain cancer, and he won't be here to see justice served. He was our family's rock, and we all miss him every day. A second blessing is that my mother died of COVID several months before the kids were killed, and she didn't have to live through the horror. It was difficult to identify blessings. So we've all lost our dear child and a future with her. I ache for the loss of the dreams that she and her true love, Jake, held. And my heart goes out to Karen and Scotty and your side of Maddie's family. You've had more than your share of loss. My heart aches for the kids' roommates and the families of the other victims, and also the family of the perpetrator. Going forward, we Mogans are choosing to put our energy and focus into honoring Maddie's too short life and sweet spirit by celebrating Maddie May Day, which my 2 daughters established. On May 25th each year, Maddie's birthday, we encourage folks to do random acts of kindness in Maddie's name. In my daughter Katie's words, may we all protect our peace in whatever way possible, unite in community, and focus on joy. Please do an act in kindness in Maddie's honor during this week, so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. Thank you.
Thank you, and appreciate your courage, and bless you and your family.
Thank you.
Now it's Ben Mogan, Maddie Mogan's father.
Benjamin Mogan. I'm Maddie's dad. And first, I just want to say thanks to all the people that helped bring this all to a close. I know it's not the resolution that everyone wanted, but I think that that everyone worked so hard, and we really appreciate all their efforts. It was such a hard thing to go through for everybody. Maddie was my only child that I ever had. She was the only great thing I ever really did, and the only thing I was really ever proud of. And I thought we would have the rest of our lives together to be together and know each other, and I took for granted the times she was in college, and I thought, oh well, we'll have the rest of our lives to do all the stuff that we're supposed to do, and she was just about done. She actually earned all of her credits for her college degree, and Karen and Scotty and I got to go and get her diploma that she actually earned, and she served every bit of that. And but I thought that was going to be just the beginning of a long life together, and we never got that. Karen and Scotty did such a great job raising her after Karen and I split up, and I'm so thankful for Scotty and the role that he played in her life when I wasn't able to. But we got to spend a lot of great times together, Maddie and I. She was my favorite person to go to a concert with. We got to see some fun shows together, and I told her, if there's ever a show that you want to go to, let me know, and I'll get you tickets for you and your friend, or if we want to go together, we'll make it happen. And my favorite memory with her was when the Mac Miller show sold out here in Spokane, and everyone wanted tickets, no one could get them, and on the last day before the show, they did a radio thing, and I got 4 meet and greet tickets for Maddie and her friends and me to go and see the show, and that was her favorite artist at the time, was Mac Miller, and he's gone now too, and my little cousin Zach drove us all there that night, and he's gone too, tragically. And anyway, the last thing that she ever wrote to me was this Father's Day card, and I'm so glad I still have it. I'm just going to read what she said. It says, "Happy Father's Day. I hope you have the best day. I can't wait till we can hang out again soon. I'll be in Coeur d'Alene 624 to 74. Hopefully we can find a time then. I loved your birthday card that you sent me, by the way. Maybe we can see a concert sometime soon. I'd love to see the gorge when it's not so smoky out. I hope you're doing well. I'm proud of how far you've come. Thank you for always encouraging me to do my best. Love you lots and lots. Love, Maddie May." She did encourage me to not just to do my best, but to live on. I went through a lot of issues with addiction and with substance abuse, and when I wasn't wanting to live anymore, she was what would keep me from just not caring anymore, and knowing that she was out there and that she was just such a beautiful person kept me alive a lot of rough moments, and I'm so glad that she was able to meet Jake. He was the only one that actually ever got to take her to the gorge. They went and saw Watershed together, and yeah, they had a heck of a time. I'm just glad she got to. That's a really special place for me, and she always wanted to work out there with me in the summer sometime. She never got to, but at least she got to see it once with Jake. He was such a great guy. He is such a great guy. And I really wanted to see what a future with them would have looked like. I'll never be able to replace her. I wrote a bunch of stuff. I just don't know what to say right now. I just miss her so much, and I just love her more than anything. And it shouldn't have happened. And a death sentence is one thing. When it's going to happen, and it's going to be all gentle and stuff. But life without parole, with a building full of people that all just want you to not be around anymore, winking at every morning, not knowing if that's the day they're going to pull your card. I mean, it's not a very nice sentence either. So, I don't know. I just love you, Maddie, and I wish you were still here.
Thank you so much.
Your Honor, next would be members from the Kaylee Gonsalves family. First will be her father, Steve Gonsalves.
Today, we are here to finish what you started. Today, you've lost control. Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you. None of us are divided. We are united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today, you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name and just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. That's all you are. Looking back when the police officers knocked on my door, told me what happened to my child, told me what happened to Maddie Mae, I don't think he was even out of the driveway before my kids turned around, looked at me and said, what do we do, Dad? I told them, you get to work. You get your ass to work. And we started calling, we started texting, we started emailing. And you know what? Within hours, we had your white car on the camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes They had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke. But we took this disaster and we did what we could. We put everything online. We took our kids, we took our images, we took everything that they did, their videos, their photos, the girls' pranks, Ethan singing. We put it out there, we shared it with the world. And the world united. And all they ended up, when they talked about this case, is they talked about Kaylee Jade, Maddie Mae, Xana, and Ethan. Everything what these people meant to us, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, we shared that with our community. Then we shared it with our state. We shared it with the country, and eventually we shared it with the world. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but two initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. From this moment, we've all started. From this moment, we will forget you. We want to all leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to the pen. That will be today or tomorrow. I'll close with, God bless all the men and women that worked on this case and all the hard work that you guys did. You guys allowed us to grieve and allowed us to get through this. The amount of work that you guys put together and the way that you guys put it together was beautiful. There was hard times to be expected, but thank you all. God bless.
Thank you.
See, that's a tinfoil hat thing where he goes, "You're
Your
gonna be
Honor,
on your way with
next
a pen."
is Stephen
Pennsylvania.
Gonzalez, Kaylee's brother.
Steven's actually gonna pass. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Olivia Gonzalez, Kaylee's sister.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today. My name is Olivia, and I am the big sister of Kaylee Gonzalez, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogan as a sister too. I'm not here today to speak in grief. I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. I'm left shouting at the inside of my own head everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call, and they knew I would handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them, and not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across, what would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts, even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the occasion, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And Kaylee and Maddie don't need it. Kaylee and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters?
She's reading the survey.
Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon, the clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. Constantly scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. Lurking in the shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light. You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself. The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass.
What?
Thank you.
What? Wow. I'm speechless right now.
Next is Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's mother.
Thank you, Your Honor. I never imagined having to speak to someone so devoid of humanity. For a long time, I didn't think I'd find the words low enough to meet you where you are. But now I realize this isn't about you. It's about what you've done to me, and I need you to hear it. When you murdered my daughter, Kaylee J. Gonzalez, you didn't just take her life, you shattered others. You attacked what you could never be, and in doing so, you left a trail of devastation far beyond that house. You stole my peace. You've altered my every waking moment, every sleepless night, the way I view the world, people, safety, trust. It's all been changed by your cruelty. I no longer recognize parts of myself. Joy is harder to find. Laughter feels foreign. The world moves forward, but I'm suspended in a place of sorrow and rage. You've taken from me something that can never be restored. The grief sits with me every day, some days quietly, and other days so loud it drowns out everything else. The emotional toll you've inflicted on me is immeasurable. I live with a constant ache, with birthdays that are now memorials, with holidays that feel hollow, with empty chairs that scream louder than words ever could. I am forever changed. But for you, as a person working on a PhD in criminal justice, you really didn't think this one through. You're not that good. In fact, you're not that good at anything. You couldn't secure a job. You couldn't get along with others. You couldn't even get a female to look in your direction. All because you are pathetic. Now you're a joke in this courtroom. I wish I could crown you with a jester hat to complete your orange jumpsuit clown look. A dead killer doesn't kill again. So while I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one.
What?
You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. Just probably not how you were expecting it. See, you haven't beat the system. You've simply entered a new one, where the rules are cruel and the consequences will never end. You are entering a place where no one will care who you are and no one will ever respect you. You will be forgotten, discarded, used, and erased. You will always be remembered as a loser, an absolute failure. And when those prison doors slam shut behind you, I hope that sound echoes in your heart for the rest of your meaningless days. I hope it reminds you of what we all already know. You're nothing. May you continue to live your life in misery. You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival.
What?
But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Hell will be waiting. Quick message from our youngest daughter. Aubrey wanted to say, you may have received A's in high school and college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
Thank you.
How are they what the actual fuck?
Do we have more from the Gonzalez family, or are you?
Yes. Next would be Shannon Gray, the Gonzalez family attorney. He'll be reading statements from Kaylee Gonzalez's grandmothers.
Morning, Your Honor. Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Gonzalez family. I actually have 3 statements, one from her aunt and 2 from her grandparents. This is from her aunt, Tammy Butts. You in the cloak of darkness made a decision to turn our whole family's world upside down forever. You in the cloak of darkness took our Kaylee J. Gonzalez away from us all without hesitation. Never have you shown any remorse or regret. We just get creepy, non-expressive stares as you have your team of women defend you. Kaylee was a strong, kind, fun-loving, caring person, and she will greatly be missed by all her family and friends for the rest of our lives. She had goals in life that you took from her and us. We lose on watching her enjoying her life, working hard and building the future she wanted. She was ready to start that after college life. You in the cloak of darkness took it all away. You left us without her future wedding, her future children that she would have added to our family. No more talking to her on the phone, going for a coffee, celebrating holidays. It's all gone. You in the cloak of darkness gave each and every one of Kaylee's family members their own lifetime sentence. You in the cloak of darkness also took our Maddie Mae from all of us. She was so genuine, caring, polite. She was part of our family. You came in, harmed our children that were younger women than you in their own beds. You're nothing, you're a coward. It's not right that you have received life. I pray that you meet your end in the cloak of darkness, burn in hell. I have two other statements, Your Honor. This is Linda Lucan's statement. This is Kaylee's grandmother. I really don't know how to address something so inhumane, but I will try. Nothing in the past 2.5 years has made any sense. All I get is you cowardly went into a home at night, filled with what I'm sure you thought was all sleeping girls, and went on a vicious killing spree for no other reason but to appease your demonic urges. You took my granddaughter Kaylee from us, plus 3 other beautiful lives. You took my granddaughter Kaylee, beautiful, sweet-souled, doll-faced Kaylee, who was getting ready to start her amazing life, who had such a bright future, who was loved by so many, who you were so envious of. She had a life you could never have. You are so beyond human. You're definitely a demon from hell. I truly wish your punishment would be the same death you inflicted on our kids. But I think you will meet some new friends in prison who will be there just to help you. Thumbs up. And I have one last statement, Your Honor. This is from Cheryl Gonzalez, Kaylee's other grandmother. John 1:5 says, light shines in the darkness, and the darkness overcomes it not. Somewhere in your life, some jealousy, envy, ego, something went dark. It pushed out all light until you became dark and evil. And when you saw my granddaughter and her friends, their light, because they have such a light, you couldn't stand it. Because the darkness in you could not stand the light in them. And so you decided to destroy it. Cowardly, you walked into their rooms in the dark and took their lives, hoping to get rid of your darkness. But you didn't. You failed. Because you know what was once a light shown only to their friends, families, and loved ones is now all over the world. Everyone sees it. Their smile, their beauty, their plans, everything they were and had. And you think you put a close to it, even that, but you didn't. Because they still exist. They are still light. They are still beautiful. You can never take that away. They will always be in the light of all eternity. And you will be in the darkness because you could not overcome it. You failed. I want you to be gone, more than gone. I want you to be cast out. Cast out from my life, from my family, from this earth. I will not allow your hatred to penetrate into my own soul. You did not get that power. You are evil, and in the end, evil is eradicated. You didn't take Kaylee's light, you spread it into the world. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. If the are you moving to a different family now? All right, why don't we take a 10-minute recess? All right.
Well, I'm a little bit shocked, everybody. And to be honest, the comment about the RAPE and the big D, and then the clapping, I don't see how that wasn't struck down by Hitler. That's one of the things about court, that you don't make a scene during the sentencing. The clapping is odd. The no emotion is odd. I don't think it was appropriate. I actually was thinking about what is going through the other families that are involved in this and what's going through their heads. I understand that it's everybody has their moment to speak, but that seemed a little bit over the top. That seems like something you could have said on a podcast or a show after the fact. I do think that Olivia's questions, there may have been a strategy behind that after listening to what she had said in the Brian Enton interview that we watched, that those questions, none of them have answers. None of them have real answers. They have narrative answers. Wow. I see a lot of people saying that PSYOP, crisis actors, sounds like a script. A lot of talking about, again, the victim impact statements are talking more about how it impacted them. I understand that. I see a lot of like me comments. It seems like the balance should have been right in the middle of the G's and the others with emotion as far as anger, questions, stories. I don't think it's inappropriate to make comments towards the defendant of, you know, you did this, you're going to pay for it, you deserve to rot in prison. I think those in a murder case are completely reasonable to say. I think that's what these statements are for, is to get it off your chest. I'm not sure if this is going to trigger people, so this is a trigger warning. I felt like Olivia and Christy probably have very strong feelings, but it feels like those feelings were put out intentionally for narrative sound bites. They were over the top for a narrative soundbite. And I don't mean disrespect directly to them. It seems like a very obvious line that, you know, the media is going to absolutely have a field day with. And when you talk about the media needing to stay out of this and people needing to not be conspiracy theorists and people need to stop talking about it, I don't know if you would go into the victim impact statements and say that you hope that Bryan Kohberger gets raped in a Big D and that people are waiting for you in prison. If that makes sense. Like I said, my personal opinion, for what it's worth, is that the emotional balance probably falls somewhere in the middle. I do think it's a little bit odd that after all of this time, Dylan doesn't stand. I understand the emotion. I was looking up if it's normal, if people who are victims don't stand. Most times they do, as we know. But I'm scrolling back up to see what this had said, and it's pretty much like if they physically can't stand, but then it also says emotional duress. So I'm not sure. It is also weird. They have yet to say, and I will rewatch this. I have not heard Bryan Kohberger's name one time. I've heard him and I've heard BK. I go back to thinking about Steve and Chrissy's interview outside of the Moscow Police Department on Fox News when Steve said someone step up, someone be alpha quote, if you all can remember that. I had said that it felt like he was talking through the screen to somebody. This feels similar. This feels like Bryan Kohberger is placed in front of them, but they're talking through him. Bryan Kohberger is the person that they say these statements to, but I don't believe that they are for Bryan Kohberger. Now, I have seen a couple of comments in the Hive where people are like, hey, be compassionate, be this, be that. One thing that I want to say is that I think we are all adults and we understand this is an emotional thing. People have an opinion. The strength of the Hive is that the chat is completely free speech. We have people who are full on tinfoil hat, psyop, crisis actors. We have people that their emotional heartstrings are getting pulled by this. It's okay. All right. That's what the Hive is for. That's a special thing when everybody can have the different opinions in there. So that's the one thing that I'll say about it. That's the one time I'll comment on it. I think that's already known. But just because this is the sentencing, that doesn't mean that anything changes. The rules don't change. You can say whatever you want. I can't control what you guys type. I have my mods that we have minimal rules. Unless it's an obvious troll or a threat, you could say whatever you want. If you decide to say something in the chat and the chat disagrees with it, well, that's the beauty of the chat. And vice versa. If you say something in the chat and the chat agrees with it, that's the beauty of the chat. You're not in an echo chamber here in the Hive Mind. The only thing that may be an echo chamber is that what I would deem the first rule of the Hive Mind is you never trust the narrative. You ask questions. You think contrarily. That is what makes the Hive the best chat on the internet. And so again, this is an intense hearing. This is intense. But nothing changes. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to mention that I wrote down. I took some notes. Ben Mogan's comment on not the resolution that we wanted. How do you guys read that? Because even listening to Steve G last night talking about like, yeah, we can live with it. Not the resolution we wanted. Olivia's bringing up multiple weapons. Where's the second weapon? The other thing that I will say as we answer this, as you guys are typing some answers out, and I'll start putting some up on the screen. Again, the question is, how do you interpret not the resolution we wanted with Ben Mogan? As people are typing that out, one of the other things that I was going to say is, shoot, no, I forgot it. Oh, the lack of specifics and the stalking, calling him a pedophile that attacked him in their sleep. My head is spinning with confusion. I can understand if a normie, mouth-breathing NPC repeats that. Somebody who doesn't follow the case. But a victim's family member saying stalking, pedophile, and you have Bill Thompson stand up and clarify that. I don't understand how that makes its way into the victim impact statements. I don't understand how you all can say between Steve G and Olivia that we want to make sure we're as accurate as possible in these victim impact statements and that we're changing it to make sure that they are. Now, what is also interesting is that they said that they met with the prosecution and they got some more information. However, that wouldn't make sense because Bill Thompson, I don't think, would say that at the plea hearing just to go and tell the families, oh yeah, you know that part about the sexual thing? That's actually not true. It was. I don't know why he would go back on that when that was the narrative established. Why end the narrative unless it was not true? And where are all those details to Olivia's questions? At first, I started when Olivia got up and started asking those questions, it took me about 4 to 5 seconds before I realized, oh, I know what she's doing. If you noticed, she started with 2 or 3 questions from Kohberger's Reddit survey, which is clever. That was clever. I don't know if you all picked up on that. But the behavioral study kind of questions of reading how a criminal would think before a crime, why did you pick them? How did you feel as you approach? She worked that into that speech. But then she switched to a handful of questions that were all questions we don't have answers to. I'm not sure where Phoenix is. I sent her the link via email. I put that in the chat. It was clever. I agree, Sharon. Yeah. So it is. I agree. It is one for the history books. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this, folks, at all. I don't know if I've ever seen anything even close to this. What would be the equivalent case that's rivaled any victim impact statements like this? I can't even think of it. Somebody had brought up JonBenet Ramsey's mother with the stuttering. There's aspects of that. Bryan Kohberger looking so emotionless will be all of the headlines. The secondary headlines will be the Gonsalves' family's sound bites they pick. And thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that super chat. She says, thank you guys for fighting for true justice. Amen to that. Long live the Hive. Power to the collective. Because if you're not familiar with how the Hive works, let me explain it. If you're somebody who only watches mainstream news, if you're somebody who only watches, somebody actually brought this up, like Brian Enton or Ashley Banfield or anybody that goes and does their own show that used to be on the mainstream news. It's really, I don't know if they're doing that by themselves and making that choice, or if that's a 40,000 foot view umbrella cover for the same organizations that they work for or used to work for, that, hey, it might even be under that umbrella still, just called a different name, owned by the same, that LLC could be owned by the same corporate name, right? So you can, the way I would describe it is, what you'll do is you'll set up a secondary pillar. So for LLC, you have your main LLC that owns everything. So call it like Hive Media Group. Okay. Then there's Hive Media Group, then Birdie LLC. That's here. Well, let's say that Phoenix decides to go and do her own show, or she is doing her own show, but she wants to go completely own LLC. Well, the Hive Media Group isn't going to put that under Birdie. It's going to be parallel to Birdie. And I believe that that's what these YouTube channels of these people that used to be talking heads on the television are really doing, because it makes it seem like they are just these people that are investigative individual journalists. I don't buy it, because it's the same talking points. Where I was going with that is, after the secondary Gonsalves sound bites, I believe that the third step is going to be the repetition of the sexual incel narrative. Oh, thank you. Mrs. Birdie coming in clutch with the pasta. Now, this is random too. So a little bit of a quick announcement. Somebody from the Hive had ordered a bumper sticker, and the bumper sticker that they got caught, or that they got delivered, it was cut off. So I am going to take that off the website. I don't know if that was just because they messed it up or if I did something, but that's weird because the proofs all looked fine. If there's I know we have a couple graphic designers in here. If there's anybody that wants to work with me on getting some dope merch, like some really good merch, some merch that you could wear in public and people are going to say, oh, what's up? That's cool. Like whether it says Hive or whatever we come up with, please reach out to me, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. The other thing that I want to say too, as we have a second here, is to anybody that has reached out to me, and I'll use Dawn for an example. Dawn reached out and wanted to start a Discord, and she's crushing that. If anybody has ideas, I would love to work with you all on it. And I will do whatever you need for me to help it. If it's something that you feel would bring value to the Hive and you have a good idea for it, please don't feel like I'm going to shoot it down before even hearing you out or what the idea is. Like, I wasn't even familiar with Discord. I've never even used it. And now I think it's incredible. I love hopping into the lounge afterwards. That link is in my YouTube bio too. The other thing too is that, oh, somebody said refresh. The other thing too is that
we see. Oh. All right, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next family is the family of Xana Kernodle. And first would be Jasmine Kernodle, Xana's sister.
I want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in this and just for all the hard work and
I can't hear.
dedication you guys have put into this. I also want to thank everyone for the support and just my family and friends who've been around through this time. I went back and forth on whether to speak today because the truth is you don't deserve power over my feelings, my words, or me.
Thank you. In the end, I realized this moment isn't about you. It's about justice for Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie. It's about honoring the beautiful people they were and still are in God's eyes. On November 13th, 2022, a piece of my heart was ripped away. There's no way to ever fully describe the weight of losing my sister, my best friend. No sentence or punishment will ever come close to the justice Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie deserve. Xana was everyone's best friend. She was kind, she was funny. She was a gift to each person she was able to make an impact on. Xana was someone I turned to when I needed direction or advice. Although I am her older sister, I often found myself looking up to her. She had a radiant energy that everyone loved, and she always knew the right way to approach a problem. She knew how precious and special life was, and she truly did live every day to the fullest. Yet her story was cut short by an act of evil. I believe in a God whose justice is not bound by this courtroom. I find peace knowing that judgment ultimately belongs to Him. For your sake, I hope one day you feel the full weight of what you did. I hope you take accountability. I hope you truly experience the guilt and you surrender yourself to Jesus Christ. Because no punishment on this earth can ever compare to the isolation and pain of eternal separation from God. Xana deserved more. They all did. But I come here to say this. I am strong. I am brave. I'm a fighter, just like Xana. And you don't get to control how I move forward or what I believe. I walk with the comfort of knowing I will see my sister again. Xana didn't get the future she deserved.
She won't be the maid of honor at my wedding, the cool aunt to my future children. I'll never hear her laugh or see her light up a room ever again. But I will carry her with me for the rest of my life. I will live in her honor, fight to be the best kind of woman and someone she's proud of, to make sure the world never forgets who she was. Xana's story doesn't end with what was taken from her. It lives through the love she gave, the people she touched, and the legacy our family will protect. Her light still shines, and her voice will echo louder than this pain. You didn't take that from us, and you never will.
Thank you.
I just want to say before I start, I'm Xana's dad, Jeff Kernodle. It's been a hard road down, you know, because she's gone. And I want to thank everybody, other their families that's speaking so far, spoke about things. I agree with everything they have to say. It all comes back to a lot of the same things that I've had to deal with and we as a family have had to deal with. And that brings me, you know, basis of what I'm talking about a little bit is on my way up here, flying up here in the plane and about halfway through the flight, this little girl is calling out for her dad. Hey, dad. And then in my mind, I was kind of half asleep. It's dark on the plane. I heard Xana calling out for me like she did, you know, back when she was little, 5 years old. And those times were hard. It was chaotic, but we always had something to work toward that was in a positive direction, compared to right now, which is necessarily not as positive as that for sure. And I know I miss Xana a lot. My life's been changed, and Xana had a great impact on me. And the impact was when she was gone, I realized how important she was and what she really did for me, influenced me, was way beyond what I ever thought. She'd call me up on the weekends, check on me, see who's with me. She's like accountability to your youngest daughter. And that really made a big difference. It made me really think about things and what it's all about, you know? That's the things that I miss the most is those calls on the weekends, the calls at 11 at night. What's going on? You want to meet my friend? You know, whoever she's with, a couple of her friends, I can meet them, talk to them. And she always did that. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I really miss that. And she made a big impact on me, on other people, her family. But the impact that she made is so extensive on what happened here. And it goes so far. People from everywhere in the world, you know, are following things, and Xana has made a difference in their lives. So, you know, countless people told me that they might not even know her. They never knew anything about her. It's what they see, and they just love her and say how they wish she could have been their friend. You know, could have been their friend, could hung out, and it's like this is a blessing, you know. This is the little kid was, and definitely was a big blessing in my life, and so is Jasmine, and basically, you know, we worked hard to do the things we did, you know, through the times they were growing up. And through those times, I realized that I wanted both of them to graduate college, and that'd be the ultimate thing for them to do to prepare for the world. Then it came back to me, Xana didn't get to finish college. He had it all figured out. this all just came back to me when I was there and that little girl was on the plane doing that. It's like where I was going, what I was going here for. And then I just realized and thought to myself about the wonderful life that she had and we had together. And I still get to have with Jasmine, but that's the part that really counted. It's the part that really counted is those memories. And those are what I have left, the memories with her and the ones I can make with her and the life that I can go on with now, which is what she wants. And I say that in present tense because that's what she wants, because I've been told that, I've been countless ways that she's out there and has a way to communicate, which I'm very grateful for. That goes to say that the impact of what happened to them, all 4 kids, goes so much further than just not me, the parents, the families, the community. It goes so far because a lot of kids, in the colleges, just for an example, they locked their doors now. The door wasn't locked in the back. Penn State or wherever it was, all the colleges I know that I've heard, they all lock their doors now. So maybe the impact that it's going to make is going to help out and maybe protect some people. Having this outreach and having the influence of what happened to these kids did, all I know is I was 7 miles away when it happened, and she wasn't feeling that good. It was 11:30, and I almost went over to Susanna's to say, and I would have been sitting right there in that couch, and you had to deal with me. So they would have had a chance, and I regret that, and I regret not going. But the reason why I didn't is because Susanna said, "Don't be drinking and driving. You got the rental car. Don't be drinking and driving." The week before that, so she was she would have been mad at me to do that. But I really wish I would have drunk and drove, because they would have had a chance, all 4 of them. At this point, I just have to go on. We're going to go on with everything and make things better in my life, because that's what it's all about. If I have closure in things, and the part that we miss is Santa, her influence, her smile, the things that she did. And we have the memories left, the great memories. And she just wants us to make more memories and not be sad or upset or shocked or taken for that, And that's what we're going to do. We just have to. That's all I got.
Thank you for your words and your courage, and bless your family.
Next, Kim Kernodle would like to address the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Kim Kernodle. I am Xana's aunt. I was very blessed to have her in my life, in our family. And I thought I had everything in my head, what I wanted to say, but it kind of went out. And I'm always looking for the positive thing, because evil, hate can destroy people. And that's what it started doing with our family. It created anger with our family members. And then I had to look, because Santa was everything that the media, her friends said. She was that fun, loving, high-spirited beautiful person. And I no longer get to get my nails done with her, have lunch with her. Sorry. But how I look at it now is this tragedy, this horrible tragedy on all of the 4 children, has brought us closer. You united us with your actions. We're united now, and we're stronger than ever. We have family and friends now that we never knew we had. And, you know, this is probably going to bother everybody, but Bryan, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you, because I no longer could live with that hate in my heart. And for me to become a better person, I have forgiven you. And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, get my number. I'm here. No judgment. Because I do have answers or questions that I want you to answer.
Whoa.
And I'm here. I'll be that one that'll listen to you. Okay? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
My name is Stratton Knodel, and I'm Xana's uncle, Jeff's brother. Sitting here today listening to all the stories and feelings and feeling the pain from everybody is a pretty powerful thing. It's each time a statement was read, it sort of would tug into my center core as I felt everybody's anguish. And Xana meant a lot to us, and we loved her very much. But I started thinking about, instead of rehashing everything that everybody else has talked about, I wanted to direct it another direction toward Bryan and what he's done to his family, his parents, his siblings, his friends, his universe. He has contaminated, tainted their family name, and pretty much made a horrible, miserable thing to be ever related to him. And I know that that's what he has to live with, and that has to be his pain. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, I believe Randy Davis, stepfather to Xana Kernodle, would like to address the court.
Hi, my name's Randy, stepdad of Xana. I just feel the same way we all do. All of us are united because of something that happened. And I'm grateful to know and have met some new family because of this awful event. But this is probably the last time we're all going to be in the same room together. Let's be real. So I can say, I love you all, and I feel your pain. And just God bless us all, you know, just get through it. I had stuff wrote up. It was probably best I didn't read it out. Probably get kicked out of here. So, you know, I'll share one thing to you guys, not to you, with Xana. So I was working in North Dakota and came home, and Jazzy and Xana had taken our son Elijah and put him in a dress, makeup, and it was awful, you know. I was like, I don't know. She was funny. I told her she'd be in the movies and be somebody great one day like that. And now she is just above us as an angel with all the other beautiful kids. So let's hold that to our hearts, because this evil thing is not going to take nothing from us. You, man, I don't know what my limits are here, but I'm really struggling, dude.
I am struggling. So I want to
Really, you can
just
say whatever you want.
be out in the woods with you just so I can teach you about loss and pain. I love God. I wouldn't take your life. That's up to him. But I guarantee you, you are weak. God, I would just give a moment, man, 5 minutes out in the woods. Oh, man. Ooh. You're going to go to hell. I know people believe in other stuff. You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are going to suffer, man. I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Laughing is still so odd.
Next is Kara Northington, Xana's mother.
I'm Kara Northington. I am Xana Kernodle's mother. This letter is to you, really, but it's for my daughter, who was murdered by you. Today I stand before you, the man who is responsible for murdering my beautiful daughter, Xana Kernodle. My daughter was beautiful both inside and out. She possessed love for those around her and had a light so bright it will live on forever in our hearts. She brought joy and laughter to her friends, her family, and anyone in her presence. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, now has her in his loving arms in heaven, where she can never be harmed ever again for eternity. Because of her, I came to know my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Because of her, many will come to Christ. It is Christ who lives in me that has given me the strength to forgive you. It was of no power of my own. In return, the Lord has filled me with joy, hope, and peace that surpasses all understanding. Jesus has allowed me to forgive you for murdering my daughter without you even being sorry or asking for this. This is only possible because he who lives in me is greater than any evil in this world. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I do not fear you or even let you rent space in my head anymore. This forgiveness has released me from any and all evil you have inflicted on me and my family. It has allowed me to let our Lord deal with you. You have accepted a deal that will prevent you from receiving the death penalty. Nothing man can do to you can ever compare to the wrath of God. Inevitably, you will stand before our Lord and will have to answer to him over the sins you have committed in murdering our children. I pray you come to the end of yourself before that day. Whether you like it or not, heaven is for real and so is hell. The innocent life of Xana that you stole from myself and my family, and the destruction it has caused. I am washing my hands of you and turning you over to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, whom vengeance belongs to. In closing, I want to read a passage from the Bible, Ephesians 6, King James Version. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, that ye may be able to stand in the evil day. I'm not going to share memories of Xana or any more of the goodness of her with you, because I do not want that to be in your head. I don't want it to be in your head. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve our good memories that we have. I do pray for you. I pray that you come to the end of yourself. I pray that before this life is over, that you ask our Lord and Savior in your heart and to forgive you. I do pray for that. But after today, I wash my hands of you, and you are no longer a thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe the state has any other victim impact statements.
Okay. All right, stay and argue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just as a housekeeping matter to start, there will be the issue of restitution. That is, the documentation is being gathered, and we ask the court would defer that for 30 days so we can present it in an orderly fashion and make sure it's comprehensive for everyone.
Any objection to leaving restitution open in 60 days? All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think it's necessary and appropriate to share for everyone here, including the court, the background that brings us in front of Your Honor today for these proceedings. As the record reflects, and as everybody in this courtroom knows, the defendant has pleaded guilty to all 5 counts charged in the indictment. Under oath before Your Honor, he has admitted that the charges against him are true. He has reassured the court that he has not been coerced or threatened to make those admissions. And Your Honor did an extraordinary job in taking the pleas back on July 2nd. We appreciate the court's discipline and insight. The defendant has also waived appeal on the multitude of rulings from this court and Your Honor's predecessor in Latah County on dozens, literally dozens of motions seeking to dismiss the case, seeking to control or limit evidence, seeking to offer evidence that would not be appropriate. And we appreciate the court's consistent rulings based on the law, based on the facts. As Your Honor will recall, on June 18th, it's just really not that long ago, we appeared before this court for arguments on what became the defendant's final motions to this court. Motion where they wanted to offer evidence suggesting that other people were responsible for the defendant's actions, and the motion seeking essentially an indefinite continuance of the trial. It was readily apparent to all of us in the courtroom from Your Honor's comments that those motions were not going to be granted. So we returned to Moscow and continued with what we had been working on for months in preparation for trial. We had no qualms about going to trial if trial was what was necessary and appropriate. The following week after we were in court, we were approached by the defense with an inquiry about a possible plea. And I can tell the court this is the first suggestion ever that there was any consideration, because indeed the defense had maintained from the beginning that Mr. Kohberger, the defendant, was factually innocent. It's clear that the reality of the evidence and the case that had been investigated and prepared and that we were ready to present in court became a reality. Our reaction, among other things, was to reach out to all the families. And in fact, later that week, on Thursday and Friday of that last week of June, we met with representatives by teams, virtual meetings, with representatives of all the families. And we talked about the status of the case and the upcoming trial and things that related to the trial. And we also let them know that there had been an inquiry about whether there might be an offer for a plea. And we asked the family members for their thoughts and feelings. And they were candid. And they have been candid since, and we respect that. And we understand, recognize, and acknowledge that there was a difference of opinion among representatives of the different families. We understand that. One of the challenges of this case, one of the unique things about this case is we have multiple victims, each unique unto themselves, their families and friends unique unto themselves, and all of them entitled to their opinions, all of them entitled to their thoughts. Over the following weekend, our prosecution team, very skilled attorneys who were personally as well as professionally deeply invested in this case, met. And we talked, and the decision was reached. Well, to start with, were there to be any sort of plea offer or discussion, there's only one possibility. And that would be for the defendant to plead guilty straight up to all charges. There would be no bargaining about counts. There would be no bargaining about reduced sentences. And so we made the proposal to the defense that if the defendant was willing to plead guilty up front to all 5 counts as charged and waive appeal of the court's myriad decisions during the past 2.5+ years on all these motions that would have consumed years, if not decades, of time in the future. By the end of the weekend, we were notified the defendant was prepared to plead guilty as charged and factually acknowledge his responsibility in court for these horrible crimes. Obviously, those discussions and negotiations were confidential. And as Your Honor noted, I believe that was necessarily so, because if the defendant had decided not to plead guilty, it would have been devastating to our jury pool for there to be public information that there had been consideration by either party to a plea resolution. And protecting the prospective integrity of the trial after so many years was paramount. So, the end of the weekend came. We notified the victims' families of what had occurred. I recognize and acknowledge personally, and I respect the fact that of these fine, suffering people here, not everybody agreed with the decision we make. I accept that. It's my responsibility in the end. I recognize that that's the duty of the office that I hold. So now, it is time for the judicial system to impose final judgment and close the door on this chapter of these tragedies. As the court is aware, by the agreement of the parties, it is the state's prayer. Perhaps have the Elmo police turned on. Thank you. That on count one, the felony burglary, that the court sentenced the defendant to the maximum period of 10 years fixed in the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. Then on count two.
Whoa, what? Oh, never mind.
That the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder.
Never mind. I realize what they're doing now.
On count three, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez. On count four, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Xana Kernodle. On count five, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life.
Why do they show an 8th grade picture
of Ethan Chapin? And the state further prays that these sentences be ordered to run consecutively, back to back, not at the same time, to recognize and respect the unique individuality of each of these beautiful young people whose lives were taken brutally and for no reason.
She is smiling. She's almost laughing. What the hell?
And hopefully now, as we have heard earlier this morning, it is time to afford the families and the friends and the community and the state of Idaho and the nation and the world to move forward. We can't undo, and we can never undo, the horror of what occurred on the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022 at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho. For a long time, the presiding district judge in Latah County was John Stegner, who eventually became a member and a justice of the Idaho Supreme Court. And Justice Stegner often observed that even God cannot change the past. But everyone in this room has the ability to take themselves forward. And we want the judicial system to afford them the opportunity today to do that. From today forward, our memories should be focused on these innocent victims whose lives were taken, on their families, on their friends, on the community. The court has heard discussion, talk today, reminiscences today about a special family that our victims shared, not just their natural, legal, and biological families, not just their university family within their sororities, for example.
but this family. This is the picture taken on November 12th, 2022, of the special family of 1122 King Road. And you can see all 6 of these dynamic, vibrant, loving, special, innocent faces taken together just across the street from their residence, and barely 12 hours before 4 of them would be brutally murdered in their sleep. They've been described consistently as being bright, caring, vivacious, with futures we can only imagine now. But they were, and they remain, a special family that I think we should all recognize and appreciate. So it's time to move forward. There have been a number of statements directed specifically at the defendant today. I have one last thought. After Your Honor imposes judgment and sentences the defendant to spend the rest of his life in prison, in other words, sentence the defendant to die in prison, he's going to stand up in the belly chains and the leg irons that he's wearing today, and he's going to be escorted into the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. And the door will close behind him forever. That is the closure that we seek, that all of these people, these loving friends and family deserve, so that we can move forward. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, does the defense have evidence to present today? All right. Does defense wish to make argument today?
Speak into the mic, Ann.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, you have an opportunity to make a statement if you wish to. I take it you are declining.
I respectfully decline.
Well, please. All right, let me start this morning by acknowledging and thanking those that have come here today in support of their loved ones. And I appreciate your courage and your strength. And I hope that you are able to move on as best as possible. Thank counsel for the professionalism that they've exhibited throughout this case. It's been my great honor to preside in this case and to help bring, to the extent possible, some resolution and hopefully justice to this case. During the quiet morning hours of November 13, 2022, a faceless coward breached the tranquility of 6 beautiful young people and senselessly slaughtered them, 4 of them. Who committed this unspeakable evil was unknown for several weeks, but due to the killer's incompetence and outstanding police work by numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, The person that slithered through that sliding glass door at 1122 King Road now stands before the world and this court unmasked. This unfathomable and senseless act of evil has caused immeasurable pain and loss. No parent should ever have to bury their child. This is the greatest tragedy that can be inflicted upon a person. Parents who took their children to college in a truck filled with moving boxes had to bring them home in hearses lined with coffins. The loss this killer inflicted was not just the death of these people's children, siblings, grandchildren, as we've heard today. It has ripped a hole in their soul, destroying a special part of their very essence. Any person who is a parent defines themselves foremost as such. It is their existence and purpose of being. And it has been stolen from these parents. None of us have experienced the loss these victims have in the unspeakable way that they have. And therefore, none of us can, nor should we, question the way in which they have handled their loss. Whether that be in private mourning, removed as far as possible from this media circus, or in front of a camera demanding retribution with the loudest megaphone. I've listened intently to the stories and pain that have been shared today, with great awe at the courage and resilience of the surviving family members of those wonderful children. I've listened also to the surviving roommates, both in person and through their friends. And I can't think of how, frankly, courageous they have been despite the hell that they have faced by uncaring people who have come up with all kinds of crazy theories about two kids simply being kids. The parents, siblings, and other family members who have spoken today are designated as victims in our legal system. But going forward, I hope that they can shed that label, as it gives too much power to the evil that condemned them to that role. They are and should be known as survivors, fighters, and foremost as witnesses to the tremendous lives of value and unbounded promise of these four young people. But those speaking today and those who did not speak, but who carry the same burden, this same loss, now carry forward the memories of these now perpetually young people, these forever children. These survivors carry the responsibility of ensuring that the voices of these children, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, are never forgotten, and the positive impacts that they have had on so many lives are never minimized, and that the love they shared, the light that they shined onto others is forever celebrated. As we sit here today, this case is ending, and we are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil, but we don't know.
Wait, what?
And what we may never know is why.
You just said we may not know.
I share
for
the
certain.
desire expressed by others to understand the why. But upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohberger relevance. We give him agency and we give him power.
Oh my God.
The need to know what is inherently not understandable makes us dependent upon the defendant to provide us with a reason, and that gives him the spotlight, the attention, and the power he appears to crave. Yet even if I could force him to speak, which legally I cannot, how could anyone ever be assured that what he speaks is the truth? Do we really believe, after all of this, he's capable of speaking the truth or of giving up something of himself to help the very people whose lives he destroyed? Rather, I suspect the so-called self-serving and aggrandizing untruthful bits, leaving people wanting more information, more insight, and thus enhancing even further the power he seeks to hold. Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance. Because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality. No conceivable reason could make any sense. And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration. I know there has been concern about him collaborating on books or movies or other media projects, and I truly hope that someone does not stoop to affording him this spotlight that he desires in the name of clicks,
no, the
royalties,
truth, Hitler,
profits.
the truth.
Well, criminal behavioralists should study him away from the spotlight in an attempt to prevent other would-be killers from acting on their worst impulses. There should be no need for that to spill over into the public eye.
Bullshit. We want to know.
The great Idaho jurist, Edward Lodge, was known for trying to find something positive about every person he ever sentenced. And with over a half a century as a trial judge, that was a lot of people. This was often challenging, and I recall in one case he said that the best he could come up with was the defendant had good penmanship.
What are we even talking
Truth be
about?
told, I'm unable to come up with anything redeeming about Mr. Kohberger because his grotesque acts of evil have buried and hidden anything that might have been good or intrinsically human about him. His actions have made him the worst of the worst. Even in pleading guilty, he is giving nothing hinting of remorse or redemption, nothing suggesting even a recognition or understanding, let alone regret for the pain that he has caused. And therefore, I will not attempt to speak about him further, other than to simply sentence him so that he is forever removed from civilized society.
Whitsack.
And accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards that govern this court's sentencing decisions as set forth in State v. Hill, I hereby sentence Mr. Kohberger as follows. On count 1, burglary, 10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogan. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 3, for first-degree murder of Kaylee Gonsalves, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the victim of the family, or to the family of the victim, pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5, for the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another. Restitution will be left open for 60 days. Defendant will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act. I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility and execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies. Though you've waived your right to appeal, you do have a right to file a notice of appeal, and any such appeal must be filed within 42 days of the date of the written judgment. which will be entered shortly hereafter. Though the appeal, you should be aware, may be deemed a violation of the plea agreement, and so I certainly suggest you discuss that with counsel if that is your desire. I ask the media and public present to allow the families to be escorted out first before they leave. Again, thank you to everyone for your stories today. I am
Didn't even
strengthened
stand.
by them, and I am encouraged by your humanity and strength, and God bless you. We're adjourned.
Wow. I don't know what to say, Hive. I think that Honey Bee's knees just summed it up. What the hell did we just watch? You know, and what's interesting, one of the things that I have to say about it to finish this, and I will be back on tonight at 7 Central, but I want everybody to realize something, is because I do, with everything inside of me, feel that the majority of people will agree with this. There's going to come a day, who knows how long, probably not long from now, people are going to go back and watch this hearing, this sentencing. They're going to replay the video. They'll listen to the words. They'll do what we do. They'll turn on the transcripts. And the people that didn't see it the first time, there's going to be something in their gut, something that creeps into their head, and they're going to finally say, something's not right about this. They're going to realize the truth, and the truth was not in the headlines. It wasn't in the Dateline docs, the Amazon series, the books. The truth is in what they left out. When you look at every hearing, the sentencing we just watched,
And have met some new family because of this awful event.
oh, I thought that the hearing just started again. Or I thought that it was a hot mic, so I switched it back. Let me finish this, because what I was going with that is that the truth is not in the headlines. Okay, the truth is in what they left out, everybody. The truth is in what they left out in the sentencing. The truth is what they've left out in the court documents with the transparency of it. The truth is in what they refuse to show everybody, because that's how they shaped the narrative instead of seeking justice. But you know what? We saw it. The Hive saw it. We felt it. We knew. While a lot of people, damn near who knows, the world refused to look into the story that they're being told. We looked into the truth that they were trying to bury. And like I said, when the truth comes out, which it will, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to ask this question. Mark my words. Why didn't anyone say something? And you know how we're going to respond, Hive? We're going to say, well, we did, but you blocked us. You ridiculed us. You made videos mocking us, calling us crazy conspiracy theorists. But you were the one that was blind to the truth. And now that you're awake, it's unfortunately too late to undo the injustice, the psychological manipulation, and all the narrative bullshit that was unfolding in plain sight. And shame on you, because you didn't just ignore it, you helped it happen. And that's what I have to say about that shit. Because I am losing my mind mentally at what we just watched. To sit there and nod along like a good little sheep, a good little non-thinking NPC, jokes aside, that's what it is, and just say, yep, this is exactly right, and ridicule anybody that might ask a question. You're ignoring what justice is. We are not a land of laws in America. And I know we have people in the Hive outside of this country. We're not a land of laws. We don't have a law system, everybody. We have what's called a justice system, where if you break a law, you go in front of a jury of your peers, and they decide if it was just for you to break those laws. You're judged by your peers. You lay everything out there, from motive, weapon, evidence, connections to the victims. How did you do it? What we just watched was not justice. Even if Bryan Kohberger did this, which I wholeheartedly believe that Bryan Kohberger did not do this. I wholeheartedly believe that the only thing that would make this make sense is that there's an ongoing operation, some sort of federal involvement, some bigger cover story, which, fine. If you hear this and this is the first time that you're hearing me speak about it and you think this guy's off his rocker and he's crazy, go ahead and think that, because I'm not going to continue to let the narrative trick me into doubting what I know in my gut. Trick me into not believing that I haven't spent hours with thousands of people in the Hive every night, diving into this, looking into the things, while you can sit there and you can call every single one of us crazy because you read a headline. Go ahead, call me crazy. I think you're crazy for not looking into this. You're crazy for not understanding the repercussions that can come to every single American because of this case. You're crazy because you can't handle somebody else's opinion. You can't get past the initial disagreement. So I'm going to make this personal. I'm going to call you names. I'm going to say you're stupid. I'm going to call you conspiracy theorist. I'm going to clip your videos and I'm going to put you on TikTok and I'm going to make fun of you. You need to literally question, what is your motive for doing that? And as I said, by the time those people do come around, because believe me, if it's not this case that wakes it up, everybody will eventually come around. There's no way that this movement of truth seeking, this movement of justice, this movement that is starting to build a ton of momentum here in the Hive, it's not slowing down. We've only just begun. And we're not here to do anything but seek the truth. We can handle the truth. We don't need our government to protect us, to tell us what we can and can't see, what we can and can't say, what we can and can't question. Fuck that. Excuse my language, but we don't need them. The only time the government shows up in our life is on payday. The government will break your leg and then give you crutches and then say, see how great we are? We gave you crutches. And I'm sorry for ranting, but that was not justice. We are a land of justice. We are a system of justice. We are supposed to have free speech, not narrative speech. And as I said, when you do come around and you question, well, why didn't anyone say anything? We're going to say, you blocked us, you ridiculed us, you clipped videos of us and made fun of us. And now that you're awake, it's too late. The injustice has been done, and you didn't just ignore it. You helped it happen. And that is my 2 cents on that, Hive. So I just, man, I feel bad for everybody that can't see. If you can't see through it, and I'm not talking that it's not okay to feel compassionate. I'm not saying that it's not, it's an emotional thing. You got to have some sort of spidey sense. And this is not meant to sound extreme. I promise you, this is not like some extremist take. I'm actually questioning this seriously. At what point do those that have not woken up become a danger to us? Maybe not physically, but look at how the NPCs are the first line of defense in the mainstream media. There are people that will ride at dawn for CNN and Fox and MSNBC that are just normal people. Those are the ones attacking us. It's not CNN or Fox or MSNBC. They don't give a shit. They know what they're doing. You have to understand the bigger picture. You have to understand that propaganda was made legal to be used on American citizens. I don't know what the motive is for all of this, whatever we just watched, whatever you want to call it. But I can tell you, it does not have the best intention of the American people behind it from a bigger 40,000-foot view. DNA, overreach on your rights, no confession of how, why, where's the weapon, how did I do it, was there anybody else involved? It's all sealed and redacted, and it's about to be scrubbed, everyone. Show me the evidence. I'm okay with saying this right now. I'm smart enough to understand when something or someone that situation myself, being self-aware, where I'll say something and then I'll look it up and I'll be wrong. And I make sure that I say, I was wrong about that. I don't just keep going along with it. If you have any inkling about this case, any other situation that something inside of you tells you this is not right, stop going along with it. Find people that agree with you. Speak up is exactly right, Phoenix. So, oh man, I'm sweating right now. I just blacked out. I just blacked out right there. Thank you, Deborah. And to everybody else that, while I was ranting, threw a super chat in there. I didn't even see him come by. I just saw flashes of color. Thank you so much, Amina and Lindsay, AGM, Jeremy Pearson, Claire, AGM again. Jeez, that's awesome. Carrie, Marley, Susan, Blue Eyed Candy, Sarah Mason, and Ava. Thank you all. Oh, well, thank you, Robin, for continuing to provide us updates for Devil's Advocates Discord. That's been super clutch. I will leave you all with this. That press conference starts in 45 minutes. I will be back on this evening at 7 p.m. Central. Bring your tinfoil hats. And you know what? I'm actually... Leave your tinfoil hat at home. Because I don't believe that this is any longer a conspiracy, Hive. We're going to be able to point to very real things tonight. Very real things that just because others who don't dive into it don't know they exist doesn't mean it's a conspiracy. Maybe that's the movement that the Hive starts, is not knowing does not equal a conspiracy. That's what we need to talk about. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean that because I do, I'm the conspiracy theorist. Just because you've never heard this doesn't mean that I'm the kook, that I'm the crazy one. No. So let's go into it. This is facts now. That's exactly right, Lisa. The Hive is, it's a new party, everybody. It's the party of the people. That's what it is. So thank you all for tuning in this morning. That was something, huh? I will see you all at 7 p.m. Central. I hope you guys all have a great day. Cheers.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for